Hello everybody and welcome to a very special new video. This is actually a pre-movie review that my best friend here, Jared, and I are going to be doing. We're going to be seeing the remake of It tonight. And what we're going to talk about in this video is essentially sort of our expectations of this new movie, or things like we would like to see, or just something to be like, I wonder if they'll do this. So we're basically going to talk about 3 points each, just go back and forth. And I'll start first, if you don't mind, brother.
Go for it.
Alright. So the first one that I want to talk about, and if you've only seen the movie, or the mini-series of It that came out in the 90s, you won't know what this is exactly, but if you've read the book, you will know what I mean by that scene. And oh, and before we go forward, spoilers here possibly, but it's been out forever, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But essentially that scene that I'm referring to in the book is this very strange and just overall bizarre addition that Stephen King added to the book, which is sort of the sexual awakening of the main characters that gets thrown in very near to the end.
Yeah.
It's like it makes contact, I mean, it kind of makes sense in the book. It still feels incredibly uncomfortable. And they obviously avoided that completely in the original miniseries.
It'd be very awkward to portray that in film anyway.
Exactly.
Unless you're a very talented director, but...
And that very talented director probably would have trouble finding work after that. But I'm not expecting that, but I am interested if they might somewhat incorporate that or do something to replace that scene.
There has to be some kind of subtleties, I mean, because there were some very small ones in the 90s version. I mean, you know, that after the movie they kissed and things like that, big deal, but
right.
I'm sure it'll be a little stronger this time, so I didn't think about that.
Yeah, and especially because, and this is the rating going to be one of your points?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, well, that's all I had to say about that. So,
well, that was my first one, is the ratings you just brought up. You know, the 1990 was rated PG, and that's kind of weird because everyone was scared to death about it. And you know, usually I'll watch a horror movie and just enjoy it, especially this one. And I'm hoping to be scared, especially since it's rated R.
Exactly.
And also, before I go on, I've never asked you this: are you afraid of clowns? Do you have the clownophobia or whatever term it is?
I don't
attack me on this. I don't know what it's called.
I don't have the phobia of clowns, but they definitely. It is easy for them to creep me out, but I don't have that fear of, like, if I see a clown, I'm immediately just completely freaked out.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's my. I mean, again, with a talented director like I forgot his name, the 1990 series. He was able to pull off really creepy scenes, especially too that still creep me out today. I mean, just being PG, you know, not much gore. I mean, just especially with Tim Curry's performance.
Oh my God!
The way he just, you know, brings it out. So, yeah, rated R version. Tim Curry, we found out he's 5'9". The new actor that plays Pennywise, I don't know his name right off. He's 6'4". He's just as tall as I am, and he's gonna hover over these kids. Can't wait to see that on film. And I know that's so that's my expectations. It's just, you know, the ratings is just more powerful. You know, not just with the tallness and height, but everything.
Exactly. Well, moving on from there, the next thing that I'm excited to see, or that I don't even know how to describe it exactly, but essentially, where the first movie was a mini-series, it was cut up into 2 nights. There was the first night, which was essentially the kid, when they were kids, that side of the story. And then there's the second half, which is they're adults, they come back to Derry, and that's when, like, you know, the final confrontation happens and all that.
The boring part.
Exactly. Yeah, the boring and not as exciting or scary part of the original.
Very let down ending.
Yeah. But one thing that I am interested to know, because this movie is a little over 2 hours. I want to say it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And the original miniseries, it was essentially 2 nights, 2 hours each. So you have like a 4-hour movie, which is a lot of time to progress the story and all that. And I know they aren't going to have as much time, but I'm interested to see whether or not they have something similar to that stinger that happened at the end of the first half of the original movie in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And like how they might, well, how they're going to do Stan's death, essentially. Like how they're going to play that out. And I'm curious about that because I desperately want this to not be, the end of this movie to not be sequel baiting.
Yeah, not a cliffhanger.
Exactly. It's like if they do it like the miniseries before, it's like, yeah, I'm sure this will do amazing and they'll have the sequel and they'll do the adult side of it. But I hope that they utilize the time in this movie, you know, get as much of the story out as they can, avoid the extra shit, and just give us a good, solid 2 hours, no sequel baiting, nothing like that.
I agree. And that brings me to my second expectation is, if they do a sequel, so I know they're going to do a sequel, spoilers. I mean, someone spoiled that for me already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, brother.
Well, I mean, it's alright.
But what I'm wanting to do, it's my expectation, I hope, is they do like a Rob Zombie-ish kind of thing. Like they did the Devil's Rejects, and then before, you know, after House of a Thousand Corpses. Both of those movies are like you know, are in the same universe. You know, Devil's Rejects is a sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses, but they stand alone. You don't have to watch both movies to understand, you know. So if they do the sequel, I hope you could just watch it and it can be, you know, its own movie on its own, just the kids, the adults, everything gets portrayed and it's conveyed in its own source.
And then whenever the sequel happens, it'll be like maybe, I mean, who knows, they might go with maybe a prequel, or it'll be sort of a spiritual sequel.
I hope.
Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, yeah, both of our expectations there definitely played into each other because, yeah, it's just, I want them to get the whole story in this one.
Yeah. And Rob Zombie shit. Please.
Yeah, exactly.
So for Rob Zombie shit.
Exactly. So my final expectation of this movie, and it's one of the biggest in my opinion, because as we said at the beginning of this video, the second half of the original 90s miniseries movie was disappointing.
We just watched it earlier.
We did, yeah. First and foremost of the disappointments being Pennywise's true form. I know they tried hard. It's like just listening to the commentary, you can tell that the director himself was disappointed with how that turned out.
Well, they had to cram like 50 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Exactly.
I mean, they didn't have, you know, these poor guys, I mean, they didn't have much, you know, but
I just hope...
Spiders are cool. Let's just do that.
Right. But because, like, Pennywise, his true form, like, in the books and essentially, like, sort of in the intermixings of all of Stephen King's books as they sort of meld into the Dark Tower books, is like he's essentially a godlike figure, or a demon-like figure.
Eater of worlds.
Eater of worlds, yeah, because he even says that in the miniseries.
That's
movie.
true. Eater of worlds, eater of children.
And so it's like you're expecting that when it's revealed, it's going to be something just like Cthulhu-esque, just something bizarre, and it doesn't even make sense. But instead, we got a spider, a giant spider thing that came from Honey that I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, please be more epic than a spider.
Please, please.
I mean, Jeff Daniels can kill a spider, so that's not scary.
So what will your final expectation be, brother?
To get scared. I want to go to a horror movie and watch a horror movie that behaves like a horror movie and go home and sleep with the lights on. You know, that's fun. Like I said earlier, usually I watch horror movies and I just sit down and enjoy them. There's like just a few, maybe half a dozen that like truly scare me and get to me, but yeah, I want this to be a seventh one.
Yeah.
You know, I watched it when I was a kid. I remembered watching it for the first time, and I just, you know, there's some humor in there too. I want it to be like funny. I want to laugh my ass off, and I want to get scared. And I'm not talking about like the jump scares. I want to go home creeped out kind of scares. So
Exactly.
that's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm hoping. That's what a horror movie's supposed to do. So.
It's like, because when we were watching the commentary on the original earlier, you know, as I mentioned to you and Megan, that one scene in the showers, where it's like there's just that split second of Pennywise, like, it's not even a full second on screen. It's just like, Pennywise comes out of the bottom drain, and he talks to, not Georgie, he talks to Eddie, and then he just does this simple little pose, and it's the most terrifying, bone-chilling thing. Like, even now, like when we watched that movie, I visibly and audibly shuddered.
You got goosebumps. It was weird.
Yeah, it was. I want that escalated in this movie.
Yep. That's all just Tim Curry. I mean, he's brilliant.
Oh, yes.
So let's hope the new Pennywise does just as well or better. Which I think he will be.
And hopefully he doesn't. I'm sure there'll be like maybe some homages, but I hope they don't have him try to do his voice.
My fourth expectation, I hope he does the I want to see that.
Okay, that would be acceptable. Yeah. That's one of the.
I'll die a happy man. I mean, that's all I can ask for. I mean, I want to see that again.
That's one of the only just wonderful things from the second half of that movie. If I can find a clip of it on YouTube, I'll provide a link to it down in the description below if you have no idea what the thing is.
Even if you're not a fan, you watch it, you know what we're talking about in the library.
Exactly.
My God. We just watch it on a loop all day.
God, yes.
So anyway, you got a fourth one now. So.
Oh yeah, I actually did have a fourth one. Hold on a second, my phone closed here. Okay, this is one that I was kind of iffy about, and I'm actually interested to see if they even include this character or characters. But in the original movie, in the book, there's the bully that just hounds the Losers Club. And, you know, he plays a pretty prominent role in the second half as well. Well, more so in the book, at least. Henry, yes.
Bowers.
Yeah, Henry Bowers. I'm interested to see how he's portrayed in this.
Especially in an 80s format.
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead of like the greaser, you know, you got.
That's right. If you didn't know already, but instead of taking place in the 50s when they were kids in the original movie, this time it takes place in the 80s when they're kids.
This is really exciting because this is going to really touch, you know, us in, you know, a certain place, because we grew up in the 80s, so it's just, everything's going to be familiar, and it's just going to get to us in that certain way. It's going to hit home, is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly, in a similar way that Stranger Things did.
Exactly, yeah. We're going to watch it and be like, hey, I had that same bully kind of thing. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, and I guess even like, because mentioning his portrayal, it's like visually, I'm curious. It's like, will they go for like more of the bullies like they had in Stranger Things, where they're just kind of like average-looking kids? Because I mean, you can't exactly do a greaser bully in this one in the 80s.
Well, yeah, I hope he's not generic, because Henry Bowers, he is a central character. I mean, you need him.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's got a lot of depth to him, and he's just not a standard bully, you know. But all these characters, there's so much to say about each and every one of them, so I hope that everything gets to be said and conveyed and portrayed in the way it needs to be.
Yeah. And that'll probably be, I know I said I don't want them to do the sequel baiting, even though, you know, there's going to be a sequel or however they're going to do it. But
I told myself I wouldn't tell you, and that's.
I appreciate it, honestly, because now I know it's like at least there is some form of a sequel or whatever happens. But the one way that I will truly accept that is if they take the time and effort to hit on all of these characters the way they deserve to be.
Exactly.
So yeah.
That's what we're expecting. That's what we're hoping. So hopefully that will happen.
Exactly. Yeah, and we're going to be going to see that movie very shortly. Actually, we've got about
30 minutes.
Half an hour, and we will be watching it. We'll record our review after that. This will.
Yes.
I'll probably try and get this out tomorrow, the day after we watch the movie, and then the next day, our review will come out. So I hope you all are looking forward to that. And if you have already seen the new It movie, hold on until the review to really let your thoughts be known. But if you've only seen the original or only seen the book, and you're wanting to see the remake, let us know your thoughts of what you might expect out of the movie if you do end up going to see it. Mm-hmm. And that's all I gotta say. Anything else, brother?
Well, just thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. First video with my brother here on the channel, and there will be many more to come, hopefully. But until next time, everyone, I am Papa Ken, and I will see you all in the next video.
Bye, guys.